welcome to today's session of Amrita Café. A good discussion increases the dimensions of everyone who takes part in it. I'm Dr. Shauri Kudappa, and I'm an academic manager with Amrita Institutions. At Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, we aspire to join hands with institutions, parents, and guardians to provide value-based education and mold the character of the younger generation through a system of wholesome learning. According to a recent United Nations report, the COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruption of education systems in history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in 190 countries. Parents, guardians, and students are living through complexities in choosing the best option for themselves. Amrita Cafe aims at serving as a forum to table these challenges and explore solutions to cope with the current education scenario. Via Amrita Cafe, we aim to provide insightful information to usher transparency in and around education. I'd like to introduce today's panelist, Ms. Alpa Prabhu. Welcome, madam. Amrita Institutions and the Sagar Public School are two tools in the pursuit of similar goals. Do tell us a little about the school.
A very good afternoon, everybody, and early good evening. I'm Alpa Prabhu. I'm the principal of Saga Public School of the Gandhinagar branch in Bhopal. We are 6 branches of Saga Public School in Bhopal with about 10,000 students on board with us and with a fleet of 700 teachers. And we truly believe in the philosophy that child is supreme. So this is something that we work, that all our programs, all our initiatives revolve around the interest of the child and having the learner at the epicenter of our entire endeavor of imparting education.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. For those of us just joining, welcome. In this capsule today, we are going to invest the next 30 minutes on looking at how a future teacher is a teacher's future. A recorded version of this webinar will be available on Amrita Cafe YouTube channel. Ms. Prabhu will throw some light on how a future teacher will design the teacher's future. In the discussion today, we will also talk about qualities and responsibilities of a teacher in this context. We would love to have your queries on the topic as well. You're welcome to share your perspectives for discussion as the session unfolds. Based on the time at hand, we will endeavor to include as many of these queries as possible. Please do include your names as well. Ma'am, to begin with, a teacher presents the past, reveals the present, and creates the future. A future teacher will design the teacher's future. How, in your perspective, will this happen?
Very true. Sir, gone are those days where a teacher is just a teacher with, having a very minimal expectations from the teacher. But today, the teacher's profession is very challenging, very demanding, and the teacher is expected to be up to date and more than just a teacher. Now, for this, very rightly said, when I was thinking that, future teacher, how will a future teacher be? How will we, how are we, and how are we going to be? And how actually this is going to design the future of a teacher. So for this, there are few parameters that the teacher has to strike a balance. The first one is the IQ. Definitely the content and knowledge and the intellectual ability of the teacher is very important, because she has to or he has to work on how well he has the analytical, reasoning, logical abilities, and how well they can gauge the child that they are dealing with. The second important parameter is the EQ, that is the emotional quotient, which is also, the ability to understand, use, and respond to situations and not react, how stable there we are. The third one is the AQ. Sir, AQ is an adaptability quotient. And just now you told that with the pandemic and the difficult times that we have seen, I think teacher community is the best example to the society in terms of adaptation from the real world to the virtual world and ensure that the teaching learning process goes on. The fourth parameter for a future teacher has to be the spiritual quotient. So the teacher has to be in peace with herself or himself. The teacher has to be aware. They have to be conscious, and they have to take the decisions wisely in the benefit of the child. Not only the balance of IQ, EQ, AQ, or SQ, a new element for a future teacher is AI, that is artificial intelligence. So without technology, the teacher cannot move on. They have to be in tandem with the changing times. So with these parameters, I'm sure that the teacher's future is secure, and these elements are going to make the teacher's future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. A very interesting AQ, adaptability quotient. Could
Yes.
you tell us a little more about this, ma'am?
Sir, adaptability quotient is how well the teacher is able to adapt and respond to the changing environment. For example, earlier the teachers were all chalk and talk mode. If you begin with the Gurukul system where it is teacher centric, that's where we begin. Adaptability quotient where the teacher is supreme. And it is what the guru says, and it is a teacher centric method of teaching learning process. Then came the revolution where it was the chalk and talk, and the teacher was still the teacher centric approach. Then came the time where now it is a child centric approach. We are more sensitive to the diverse learning methodologies of the child. Whether the child, we work on the areas or the platforms of where how good the child, whether he is an auditory learning or a kinesthetic learner, or a child who's a naturalist, or he works on hands-on. So these are the different learning potentials that we identify. And today, the teacher has adapted to understand and cater to the needs of the child. And that's where adaptability quotient comes into picture.
And are there some, some initiatives that are actually happening in and around Bhopal on these lines?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. If you talk about, the Saga public schools that we did, sir, adaptability quotient then definitely was the best for us because in 2 flat days, 48 hours, we were able to switch on with the transition from the real world to the virtual platform. To the Google Meet, the Google Classrooms, the teachers were trained on the 10 parameters of Google Classroom. The teachers learned quickly. There was a buddy teaching, and all of us were ready with our soft copy notes, which never happened earlier. But this is where how well the teachers have adapted. And it's just not one school I'm talking about. Pan India. Pan India, the teacher community have switched to from this mode to the virtual. The story doesn't end with just the virtual platform. They had to integrate a lot of teaching tools, the virtual tools in their classroom teaching to make it effective, not only efficient, but also to make it effective. So those challenges were overcome by adding these tools into the teaching learning process. More of visual effects, lot of videos were made, lot of PPTs were shared, and a lot of tools were incorporated to hold the attention of the children. Now, this is the best example of AQ for our teachers community.
True, ma'am, true, which sort of carries me into our next thought. They say teaching is looked upon as a profession that creates all other professions.
Yes.
What are the soft skills that a teacher must possess to be an effective, facilitator, teacher?
Soft skills for a teacher. So teacher is like no less than an avatar today, and who needs to be worshipped. And I am very glad that our student community are still, respecting the teacher community and do listen to the guidance. Now, this soft skill, what the teacher need to possess here is two areas, sir. One is the aptitude, and second is the attitude. That will definitely bring a revolution in the way or the approach or the perception. See, aptitude is something that the person is, born with, and it depends on how well the person responds to adverse situations. In the teaching profession, every day is a new experience. Every year, a new batch of children. The year begins, and the year we in a wink of an eye, the year is complete. The session is over, and we have a new batch of students. Every day, a new learning process, new experiences, new problems, new challenges, and new emotional behaviors and behavioral differences in children to be handled. Second one is the aptitude, the attitude of the teacher. If the teacher is a lifelong learner, it is, I strongly believe, because if a teacher believes that I still have a lot to learn apart from my knowledge and content, that also, sir, today, with certain period of time becomes obsolete. The teacher has to keep getting upgraded every day with the new things added to their content or knowledge, because today is the world of information. Now it is the teacher's responsibility to process this information and convert it to knowledge and impart it to children. So when children are bombarded with information, they are supposed to apply that information. When they apply the information, then it becomes knowledge. Now that is the responsibility of the teacher. So if these two soft skills are there, very strong, and I actually believe that attitude and aptitude are the seesaw of the future teacher. So this will definitely help them in, a strong connect with the children and bringing that change what they want to see in the child.
Ma'am, so nice, ma'am. Just taking this a little forward.
Yes, sir.
I had once, I was in a discussion where they said that, there are two sides. There are two sides of one aspect. One is where a teacher sort of builds on existing, meaning, our education system has been the same for the last 10 years, or at least the backbone of it. Yeah. There are one school of teachers who believe that we take that, we see what we did last year, we build on that, add some things to it, and that's how we move forward. While there is another school of thought where they say that no, whatever we did last year does not hold good this year. you know it is in the context of rate of change. We believe that about 20 years back the rate of change was probably, you know 5 years, 8 years, but today the rate of change is 6 months, 4 months.
Right.
I don't know how fast does an iPhone come out with a new version. So on in this context, I just wanted your thoughts.
Yes, sir. The old school of thought, definitely. Um, at my school, what I do or I believe is it's an amalgamation of all these chain of thoughts or the school of thoughts. Definitely, my school does have a conservative thought process because we believe a lot in imparting values. The teachers walk the talk, they are the role models. And it is just not because I believe that values are caught, they are not taught. So here, the entire program round the year, or if for as a small example, like after every period, we have a pre-period activity where the child does different type of meditation, breathing exercise, calming their nerves. So that one thing help. Or whether our children write gratitude journal. So in that journal, they write, they express what they are thankful about, what the society has, or who has helped them, or how they have helped. So there is one school of thought that I strongly believe, and there is no compromise on the discipline aspect in the school. So strict measures are taken to rectify. That is one school of thought that yes, this is my old school of thought and I will not change and I'm going to continue. Now, coming to the other school of thought, where they say that yes, we have to bring a change and we have to upgrade. I agree here because whatever the systems, what we have developed in the past 20 years in my school, now with every year, a new approach comes. For example, the soft skill, the soft copy of the split up syllabus or the lesson plans we have, our teachers sit together, brainstorm, and bring in new ways of teaching learning process. Again, child is centric. We work on that aspect, and for example, we include the constructivistic approach, or we include an experiential hands-on experiential learning, or it is whatever lesson they are doing in particular to that, a visit is arranged to the lab. Or for example, the biology children of 11 12 visited the COVID lab and they understood the entire process. So this is the the futuristic approach, or they have the cooperative learning, or they have the interdisciplinary approach. The other school of thought says, no, I will not change. No, I don't think, sir, that, no, the change, what you told me, happens every 6 months. Yes, the AQ, what comes into picture here is that if at all the need arises, if the need arises that today we have to be on an offline mode, okay, we are here. If the need arises, corona is in the air, everybody mask up, my entire school, students, teachers, staff are masked up. If the need arises that, okay, today from offline we are switching to online, all right, my teachers and students and parents are ready. So such change is the only constant today in life. That is not in our control. But what we can do is keep adjusting with the changes which are coming. And the mantra here is for a future teacher, change or turn every obstacle into an opportunity. Then when the mindset changes, the approach changes. Then I have least resistance from my teachers, and it is on a wholehearted welcome to the new changes. Because, sir, human mentality is to resist change. We all are very happy in our comfort zones, and it is my task to bring them out of the comfort.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right.
I caught something from what you're saying, and I found it very interesting. You told us about a gratitude journal.
Yeah.
That tell us a little more about this. Is it only for students? Are teachers also involved in this? Is it something that has reached the homes as well? Maybe tell us a little more about this.
Sir, for a teacher, it is just, she's not a robot. She's not a mechanical robot. But then I told you the teacher's avatar, we expect a lot from this teacher. She has to be a homemaker. She has to, manage her children. She has to manage the kitchen. She has to come to school. She has to complete a lot of responsibilities, shouldered on her. But then somewhere deep inside, a teacher has to have a soft heart and has to be thankful for what she has received. So what I have done, number one, it begins with me. I write my daily diary when I go to sleep. It's not flipping through the mobile and the messages, but my gratitude that I write for the day, and also my entries, the diary entry that I do, and what I'm thankful about, and what, for example, I have a vision for my school. I want it to develop in this way, or my results in this way, or rather, my objectives and aims for the school, what I want to materialize for my children, I put it in my gratitude journal and I let it go to the universe to materialize. Now, similarly, my teachers, they do it, and my children. Now, in children, what we do, that we have formed a group called mentor mentee. So there's one teacher who she takes 3 classes. So from 6th standard for the class where she teaches 5 students, maybe another section, another 5 students, and another 7th, maybe she teaches another 5. So she has 15 children for the whole year. So the mentee teacher now is connected to those 15 children. Like this, my entire staff are connected to some or the other students. They have their own group and they have their journal writing. And these journals are submitted to the teachers, and the teachers go through them and gives a personal note. That's when the teacher-student bonding or the connect develops. And we have taken these journals to home, where when we have one-to-one interaction with the parents, we have told the parents that not only your child will write, you will also write the gratitude. So, sir, when the entire atmosphere comes to, gratitude for what you are receiving and what good have you done to others, there's a lot of positive energy. There's a lot of positive vibes in the thought process. So we touch the student community, teacher community, and the parent community. This is how, sir, we are trying to reach out and try to bring some positive energy in today's society.
Very, very interesting, ma'am. Thank you. Really nice
Welcome.
to hear about it. They say learning, they say, does not come by chance. It must be sought for, with diligence.
Yes.
So in this context, why should the teacher be a lifelong learner?
Sir, because the teacher has to be multitasking, the teacher has a lot of responsibilities on her shoulder. For example, sir, if a teacher has to be a lifelong learner, suppose the teacher has got a lot of knowledge but is weak in her expression. Now, if she's not a keen learner, then she might have a lot of knowledge, but she is not able to deliver it the way how the children are able to understand. Therefore, our step one has gone. But then if she is a learner, what we help the teacher is to work on the pronunciations, to work on the choice of words, to work on how she can conduct the classes, what activities can be done, what kind of worksheets can be developed, how can she improve her communication skills, how does she engage the class productively. Sir, all this, I am ready to do it with the teacher, provided the teacher is open to learning. So, what we do, or rather, what a teacher should understand or internalize, take a paper and write down what are my strengths. Why do my children, my students like me? Why does my management like me? Why do my superiors and my leaders like me? Write down all your strengths. So that gives you a confidence boost. Then you take on the other side areas of improvement. And if you cannot identify, if you are scared of speaking on stage, public, if you are scared, immediately you have to start working on that. You have to develop public speaking, communication skills. You have problems with pronunciation, take help and do it. So write down your areas of weakness. Go one step ahead. The best thing where feedback is given is by students. We do it till date. Every teacher will give the slips to the child and say that children, only on the basis for my teaching and nothing else, tell me which are the areas that I'm very good at and tell me the areas where I have to improve. So children give honest feedback, but the teacher should have the guts to take that feedback. That criticism when it comes to students, children are very, very open and very honest. And when they give that feedback, the teacher has to take it up, note down the areas of weakness, start working on it. So, because any institution, any management wants the best for their children and the best for the teachers. So, this is where how we can help our teachers, and they have to be the learners, and not only for their content or knowledge or communication, they have to be excellent counselors. Every teacher is a counselor today because they understand the needs of the child. They are personally connected with the children. And when children come up with the problems, it can be any issue. It can be a mental, balance disturbed, an emotional disturbance at home, maybe a financial constraint at home, or a demise in the family. A teacher should know how to handle the situations, or a medical emergency that has come up with the child. So these are the areas, sir, where the teacher has to be a learner.
Ma'am, on this context, very true. A teacher has to be a counselor, but very specifically when we are looking at this aspect that you just spoke about, when we're looking at emotional aspects of counseling,
Mm.
like what you said, um, what are the specific areas which you feel institutions today need support in? There are, I'll just elaborate a little. There are some areas where institutions, either on their own or with resources available, within their environment, within the places nearby, are able to get whatever they need on their own. But there are some areas, some aspects which institutions today, schools specifically, may not have, may not be able to reach into, or may not have access to. Can be because of anything. We're not in a metro, the institution is not in a metro, or I think one of the key challenges could also be contacts, not having the appropriate contacts, etc. So what are your thoughts on this? What are the areas, key, core areas where you feel institutions today need support but are unable to tap into the, uh, you know, are unable to tap into the right resources, especially when
Mm.
it comes to, emotional aspects of counseling?
Yes, sir. So there's a, over a period of time, just before pre-COVID, all of us were extremely, physically, aware about the physical health of humans. We were a lot into the well-being of the physical state of humans. Came pandemic, and then we realized that how important our health is, and along with that, how important is our EQ and the mental health, the emotional balance as well as the mental health of the person. Because we saw that disturbance. We ourselves had goosebumps when the near and dear ones, we have seen the worst of times which we had heard upon once upon a time. We have seen death at a very close front. These are very difficult challenges where families had to endure, and they needed a lot of support. Now it may be that the schools may have a counselor. This is one of the biggest challenge, or the schools may not have. Now the second thing what has happened today is the children who were at home and have come back to school after a gap of 2 years, there's a tremendous learning gap. Now, the institutions and the teachers have to be equipped to understand what is, see, the child has come from 7th standard to 9th standard due to general promotion and online exams, and the child has come to school. But then the entire 7th and 8th standard, the child was at home. Now, when the child comes to 9th, the teacher should be able to understand what is the state of the child, where is he, and how do I overcome this learning gap and to bring him to the normal stream. And I'm seeing this challenge in my school itself. So the institutions first need to identify what is the learning gap at every age group. Second, if they have a counselor, is one counselor enough to handle to a large population of the students and also their parents? The third challenge is the mental awareness about the awareness about the mental health, the awareness about the emotional health. Earlier, we used to not talk about it. But people now today openly go to psychologists and seek help. Now these are the problems faced by educational institutions. Now, how do we overcome them? First thing is, for example, what I've done at my school, I have a counselor. Now I have got different segments of the, say, nursery to grade 2 children, and their needs are different. 3 to 5 different age group needs are different. 6 to 8 entering into adolescence, and 9 to 12 adolescence. Now, what my counselor does when we have section wise meeting, she deals with the child psychology for that particular age group with that teachers of that segment, and tells them, she asks them, what are the problems that you're facing when you're talking to parents? They list out the problems, and then my counselor gives the solutions. And I told you, every teacher is a counselor. When the teacher in turn connects with the parents, she gives them the parenting tips and she helps them. Like this, we have devised it section wise, different problems, their solutions, and how teachers are handling. Because one counselor cannot reach out to 3,000 parents. But my teachers definitely can reach out to the parents. So this is one way how we can reach out. Second, when we have parent orientations, when we have them, we speak a lot about mental health, emotional well-being, and we speak, actually we teach parenting to our parents. Because this is where, right from parent involvement to the well-being of the family, a healthy family, quality time, and the biggest challenge that I'm facing is mobile addiction from my children. You keep the phone here on the table and ask them, will you choose the phone or your parents? I have seen cases where the child picks up the phone and says, ma'am, phone. So I ask them, why are you choosing phone over parents? Ma'am, parents to hai na, kahan jayenge? Phone chala jayega to fir main kya karunga? Now today the generation has come to that, and this is where we are trying to make the generation sensitive. We are empowering the parents and teaching them parenting skills. Sir, if all institutions start thinking like this, by and large, this gap or the void, what has occurred in 2 years and 3 years, I'm sure we'll be able to overcome in the next 6 months.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, very true. I think learning gap and how do we address it, which brings me to another thought. How do teachers directly or indirectly impact or bring about change in students? How is that happening?
Sir, very important. It is the one-to-one connect. The magic is the child will do it for the teacher. See, the moment the child likes the teacher, the child scores well in that subject. including me. I mean, even you, I suppose. You like the teacher, you like the subject. You don't like the teacher, you will not develop interest in the subject. So, one, how does the teacher bring a change in the child is, so the teacher has to be empathetic, has to have a lot of patience, has to build one-to-one connect with the child, understand the problem of the child as to what is the reason that the child is not fed well. If the child dozes off in the class, there's no point in scolding. Find out, go to the root cause. This is where the child, and once the one-to-one connect, and including, sir, where I have my gratitude journal, the mentor-mentee relationship, the children are very closely connected to the teachers. And the teacher on a regular well-being phone call to the parent definitely connects to the parent. And we also have, sir, home visit. So where we have chronic problems, those children, my teachers take time and they visit their home, maybe for appreciation, maybe for understanding the problem of the house, or for just a well-being visit. It makes a huge impact in the child. And when the teacher actually corrects the child in at a personal level and not in the classroom. So it's a rule in my school: appreciation is in public, and to reprimand it is in private. So my teachers have got a very clear message: they're not allowed to insult, humiliate, scold, not in public. They see something wrong with the child, and and it's one to one. So this is how we bring a change in the children. It's a lot of patience for the teachers.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Um, Teaching kids to count is fine, but actually teaching children what counts in life is is
Oh,
a
counts. Yes,
bigger.
the value. Yes, we do have a lot of cases where children do not value what the parents do for them, and probably this gratitude or our morning assemblies or our, so we have annual themes like living the virtues is the theme for my school this year. So in my diary, the entire planning for the year rotates around these values. So there are certain things that we have to do it for children and make them realize. Community service is another aspect where children, till they see it, they will not value it. So what I've done, I've sent a group of my children. They went to an orphanage there and talked to the children first. This is the level one. That what are your needs? What do you want? Which are the areas that you need? Any material need or whatever. So one thing they asked for, some children asked for IT help, some children asked for the daily essentials. Some asked that we want to learn certain skills. So what my children then did was they prepared a list, and we had a joy of giving a week, a program where we donate. So the all the classes donated the daily essentials, and our children visited for 1 hour to that orphanage, and whoever was good at that skill, they did that. And I can see a change in the eyes of these children that ma'am, हमारे पास तो इतना सारा है, इन बच्चों के पास तो कुछ भी नहीं. They are struggling for daily essentials. And this is how, sir, we have to sensitize children. Just by telling them be honest, be polite, be kind, no, it doesn't work. It has to be in them. And another approach is by valuing what the parents do. So this is how we help our children.
Another perspective which came out when you, ma'am, there was a lot of discussion which I was part of, where one challenge which came out very starkly during the COVID was the difference between haves and have-nots. When we were their schools, institutions, when they were conducting their classes, there were 50% of the class had 3 or 4 mobile phones, whereas there was another 50% of the class which did not even have one.
Yeah.
Did you also see such challenges, and how did you, if you did, how did you address them? It
Yes,
may
yes.
not be, may not be in context of mobile phones, of course, but
The
did you have
access to internet and the learning process.
such?
Sir, what we did was, yes, definitely we did come across this challenge. We have a very different clientele. We have, sir, it's a heterogeneous group. I have children from army, scientists, or IS officers, or at the same time, I have children from RTI or the business community, or from the children or the parents who are, just managing to make two ends meet. Now, where we found this challenge of mobiles, first thing is we would address the parents and encourage them to have laptop, because that will not harm the eyes as much as the damage that the mobile does, and the clarity in the vision in terms of PPT or the modules or what the teacher is teaching. So we encourage the parents to switch to laptop that was there. Those who could not manage, they're managing with the mobiles. Third, those children who did not have access to internet. Now, since we were following all the protocol in, under strict surveillance, we would call those children to the school with parent consent, and we would give them the access to the computer lab. So there we had our internet, and we have got two junior and senior computer labs. Children would use our labs for the learning process, and the parents could take them. And this is how we have had. And in fact, we had a donation drive, sir, from the teacher community and parent community who had spare smartphones. Now that really helped, because we when this donation drive happened, there we got a lot of smartphones. Now those parents, children who could not have, or say they had one mobile, but there are two siblings at home. So we helped them there with an additional smartphone, and they were able to buy their card on internet, and they were able to manage. So this is how, so step by step, we were able to overcome all our.
The price of greatness, they say, is responsibility. I think Mr. Winston Churchill is probably connected or attributed to this thought. A teacher shoulders a lot of responsibilities. Any
Yes.
suggestions as to how to maintain the good health of a teacher? I believe we
Uh,
already spoke about this a little earlier.
Sir, my only message to my teachers that you are blessed to be a teacher, and once a teacher, always a teacher. So, in fact, I see that my staff wards who are coming up, they are sir exemplary, because the teacher, the kind of discipline, the kind of knowledge, the way, the upbringing, the parenting, the counseling, and the experiences she handles, it reflects in the upbringing of their children, and they excel. I've seen staff wards, they excel in every field that we have. Now, my earnest request to all the teachers. See, you've got this beautiful, noble profession which is uncontaminated till now. So let the purity continue, because you're dealing with souls, you're dealing with humans, and you're going to nurture them and make them something very capable, or you're making them society ready. Okay, you're building them or preparing them for all the other professions. Now, here first thing is eat at the right time. Very, very important. Sometimes teachers, मुझे बहुत काम है, मुझे ये है, मैं बाद में खा लूं. No, stick to your time schedule of your breakfast, lunch, your evening tea, and your dinner. Second, 100% 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep. You have an early morning school, you need to retire to bed early. If you go home, sleep for a couple of hours, then you'll sleep late in the night, and then your cycle is disturbed again. So you be engaged during the day, but have an early bed and early to rise, 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Water, the most essential thing for the teachers, because they stand and teach, they're always on the move, their metabolism rate is very high. They need at least 3 to 4 liters of water per day. Have your measure. I come to school with these 2 liters of water, I leave school only when I complete these 2 liters of water. Carry the water to the class. That's what my teachers also do. But then the rule is very clear. Water is must. Otherwise, they'll end up with thyroid, they'll end up with kidney problems, they'll end up with less water in the body, and a lot of complications. Next is, channel your creativity. Now, you keep doing a lot for others. Always a teacher's life is for others. But something, please understand that what you are good at, please, self-care is very, very important. Whether you are passionate about something, some skill or some talent that you have. For example, I talk about myself. I'm a skilled Bharatnatyam dancer. I have completed my education, my qualification, everything. But till date, I practice my Bharatnatyam when I go to my guru, and I practice it thrice a week. That's my passion, or rather, it is my dance that gives me energy to keep my school going. So you find your inner peace, where, as a principal, my profession is for my bread and butter, but my dance, it nurtures my soul. That is what energizes me. You find your getaway. whether it is your cooking, whether it is your yoga, whether it is your dance, whether it is your gardening, your self time. Teachers is very important. Do not, 24 hours is not for everybody. 1 hour is yours. So your self-care regime is very important. And maintain a victory log. This is something very interesting. When you maintain a victory log, if somebody has complimented you, note it down. If some child has sent you a message or thanked you for doing something good for him, note it down. And then whenever you feel low, whenever you're not okay, just turn your victory log in your folder, in your mobile, or in your diary written. It surges your energy again. And what you need to do is, you need to rest. Your Sunday, I understand it is maintenance at home, but the remaining half should be your fun time with your family, because your family gives you energy. Stop complaining and get into a positive mode with your family. That's what. And the last thing is, do not compare yourself with others. You'll never be happy. You need to be what you are, because you know what you're best at. So nurture those things what you're good at, and do not compare yourself, because if you are good at something, there's somebody else better than you. So you have to compete with yourself and give best, and see, okay, this year I have made a change in 5 children in my this year. Next year, another 6. Next year, another 7. So what will happen? You will be touching lives forever. Now, this is what gives us satisfaction. I think this, few tips I'm going sure that, teachers are going to take care of themselves. You'll enjoy your profession. You'll never crib about this.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really powerful. But I think before we close, I thought uh, while taking a leaf from what we were just talking about, the superlatives, comparing ourselves to others or to factors outside. One harsh reality is that it is a competitive environment.
True.
Nature, by virtue of it, only blesses those who are, what do you say, survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, sir. Charles Darwin. Nobody can beat natural selection, the
Yes.
rule. And sir,
Yes.
it's true for all of us. No, it's a simple mantra in life: perform or perish. So whether it is government, whether it is private, whether it is yourself, whether it's your family, we want our children to perform. Others expect us to perform. So perform or perish is the mantra. And second, survival of the fittest. Teachers are not an exception. If teacher has to survive in this competitive world, the teacher has to adapt, the teacher has to evolve, the teacher has to integrate a lot of technology into her teaching. And the magical 4 A's: acceptance. You will not find all children as per your expectation. There are two things, dear audience, you need to understand. Did we ever choose our parents? We accepted whomever we got as parents. Has ever parents got children by their choice? Never. We have accepted our progeny, our children, the way they are. Third, does a teacher ever get the students by choice? Never. We always get the students with the batch what the school has given us. So one is the acceptance. It will become very easy to handle children. Second is attention. Give attention to children. Who doesn't like attention? Okay, that's the second mantra. Third is appreciation. When you appreciate, definitely there's a motivation in the child. Appreciate for the right reason. Do not flatter. And the last is, be a very affectionate person. Children will be drawn to you like magnets, and that is what we want. You want to be the most loved teacher, so why not? These are the mantras for our teachers, that a teacher's future will be totally dependent on uh, the teacher's future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Uh, one one thought which has just come up from one of the participants, someone who's joining us, is there's a question that, is there any attendance form? Will we get any badge or certificate for attending the session? Ma'am, no, this is not this. Like I said in the beginning, the aim of Amrita Cafe is this is just a coffee table discussion on issues that are current, on challenges that are live, and how couple of us have addressed it, couple of us have, sort of seen through it, and we're hoping that this will serve as a platform, this will serve as a collated content where, it addresses these pertinent issues, these pertinent questions. Yeah. To close, ma'am, before we close, I'd just ask you, what is your message, to the teacher community in the context of a future teacher?
Sir, adapt and evolve. That is the only way, because evolution also takes care. I mean, nature also takes care of those who evolve and who adjust and convert every obstacle into an opportunity. That's the only way to a teacher's success.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Been a very nice, fruitful discussion. As mentioned earlier, Amrita Cafe aims at serving as a forum to table challenges and explore solutions to cope with the current education scenario. Please do write to us at Amrita. Contact details have been made available along with this video. We would love to hear from you on areas that may be included in forthcoming sessions of Amrita Cafe, where we aim to provide insightful information to usher transparency in and around education. I'd like to bring us to a close of this forum by thanking all of you for your presence and views, which will be compiled. Miss Alpa Prabhu, thank you for being with us today at Amrita Cafe to share your insights. Any closing thoughts, ma'am?
I think we've discussed enough, sir. Thank you so much for this platform, and it also gave me a lot of insights and a reflection as to what we are doing and how much more we have to do for our children.
I would also like to highlight the efforts of the team behind Amrita Cafe,
Yeah.
Parvati and Sakshi, who have made things possible and seamless today. With that, we conclude. Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you, Mr. Dr. Shori. Thank you, Sakshi, and thank you.